Okay, so this is my PowerPoint presentation for Article 8, Deepfakes Avoid DF. Here's my little preface. So, Avoid DF, audio-visual joint learning for detecting deepfake. Um, these are the authors, and the summary and PowerPoint were brought to you by me and me alone. Okay, so the importance, the deepfake dilemma. So, what is deepfakes? Deepfake is it's basically spoofed media like manipulated photo, video, or audio, or such elements that have been artificially created, which a photo that someone may not have taken, a video so someone may not have taken, audio of someone saying something that they didn't say. Um, what spurred the proliferation of deepfake? Well, we could say that it's the byproduct of digital media advancements. Video games and VR and movies and Photoshop and Adobe Premiere and voice synthesization and what do you call it? Voice changers and other forms of video editing tools. A lot of them, it's not illegal though in any of those things. It's perfectly fine. It's just that they're more available. They're being used, and a lot of them they're commercially sold. It's nothing illegal. But you know, much like with the good things you could do with these technologies, you could do you know just as bad things. You can identity theft, or you could spoof someone's audio or video or photos and make it seem like they've said or done certain things that they may not have said or done. So how do we combat this? So one way to fight this is what do you call it? Highlighted by the authors of Article 8, where they implement a multimodal deepfake detector. Uh, some of the archaic method that was described by them is the unimodal uh, deepfake detection, where only it picks up if there's a desynchronization between uh, a video and audio that's been spoofed, or spoofed video with uh, correct audio. But it never took into consideration both of those elements being changed, artificially changed. So this basically just describes what I just said. Multimodal is, the way to pick up on if audio and video have both been spoofed uh, to seem legitimate. So here's the structure of their article. Basically, they highlight the problems of deepfakes and what that generates for everyone, kind of at a more, not at a personal level, but what it does to, like, you know people and governments, and the bigger implications to the people of importance. So then they list the methods. They list the methods that have been tried and that have failed. Kind of setting up you know their method. Um, why multimodal detection is needed. And after explaining their method, they explain how they'll test it. They'll explain in the article all the benchmarks, all the competing methods, and kind of the results of that, trying to show that their method is superior, the avoid DF. Um, they list the benchmarks and their competing programs. I said that. What do you call it? They list all the trials. There's a lot of trials that they put avoid DF against, and then they finally list out their results, kind of using their findings as their rationale to kind of advertise their method as being the superior method. So we'll go over their method real quick. So multimodal detection, basically step one, the temporal spatial encoder. It splits the media and audio and visual components, analyzes them, not completely separate of each other, but basically you could break it down and look at it frame by frame, uh, separated from one another, but then kind of synchronously look at the audio and video at the same frame. Next, we have the multimodal decoder. Um, what do you call it? It fuses the audio signals and examines the audio and visual components for disharmony or desynchronization, kind of seeing what if there's any mismatch or something that doesn't add up. It'll look for that, and it also has a database of visual and audio artifacts that it's learned from as being artificial. So it draws that and it helps the overall program make a final decision. Um, and then finally, the cross-modal classifier. So it takes the tokens generated by steps 1 and 2, and then it uses that to make a decision whether that piece of media has been spoofed or it's deepfaked. So we'll go over some of the described algorithm learning methods, the benchmarks, and the competing methods, and then the results. Not going to go into too much detail because that's listed in the article, but just summarizing it here. So the way they teach the multimodal decoder is they have existing programs. Some of these you can commercially buy or use online, like FaceSwap, Deep Face Lab, Wave to Lip, EVP, PCAVS, and SV2 TTS to spoof audio, to spoof video, put them together to change faces like in real time on a video, or even artificially generate another face and put it on somebody else. And they they use that to train their algorithm by their algorithm looks at the differences like at the before and after from the pre-spoofed and post-spoofed piece of media, and then it makes a determination and it saves that, and then it looks for those patterns in whatever media you give to it. The benchmarks: DFDC, AV Celeb, and Deepfake AV Mint. Just some programs that they use to generate some fakes or not fakes and run it against their program to see what it picks up and what it doesn't. And then some of the competing methods existing, they're mostly unimodal methods. Learning, what do you call it? What do you call it? Contrastive learning, pixel concatenation, MFB, AVNF, and AVNE. And then the results is that in pretty much every benchmark that came up, the multimodal detection came out about 10% more effective in picking up deepfakes than other methods. And then, okay, so my overall thoughts on their approach. I think it's a pretty well structured article. They structured it kind of like why deepfakes are a threat, uh, who it might impact, and then they go into the existing methods, then their method. They explain the basic parts of their method, then the theory, then the math, then the computer stuff. Then they describe their test trials. Then they describe all the tests that they put it through, the benchmarks and the competing methods. Good thing that they tested them against competing methods because it puts some legitimacy to their method working, but someone else would have to test it to get the most unbiased uh, test out there. But yeah, overall pretty good. And then the multimodal detection was pretty, it's pretty in depth, mathematical. Some of it, I'd say, would probably be beyond the scope of what anybody who wasn't involved in the project what they would understand. Um, yeah, the flowcharts, the models that they use, very tasteful, very they're relevant. They aren't just there to be there. And then, they were good at explaining their pipeline with the three-stage uh, deepfake detector. So this is what I think could be improved. So overall, I think that like at the beginning of the paper when they talk about um, what it what are the implications of deepfake. There's some parts that I believe that are left out, and that they only highlight how it could impact someone like a politician, a banker, someone like Mark Zuckerberg, celebrities, and all that. But like in reality, who really cares? about those people. When you want to, bring attention to an issue like this, you want to bring it down to the personal level. And deepfakes do involve ordinary people on the personal level. So, you could spoof biometric data where people's anybody's, uh, you know, probably cloud saved data or anything financially handled online could be stolen. And then another idea topic that's coming around lately is artificially created like ransomware and blackmail. So like if you can spoof someone's face on anything, you could use that for some, what I'm implying, some very uh, you know, devious deeds. You can make it seem like people have done things that they might not have done. That and also, extortion relates to that, relates to blackmail. So say, you got a video implicating someone something in some adult acts, and someone could, create that, artificially create that, and blackmail someone with the threat of releasing that online. It's a possibility. And then, okay, so in general, if you bring the overall importance down to the average and everyday person, you bring more interest, more awareness, and you get more people involved with bringing this issue, getting a handle on this issue. And then finally, last improvement is the math sections and the more intricate sections of explaining how their program works. I'd say simplify it, make it more concise, or cut it. So the conclusion is, I think it's a pretty good article. It's well explained on the under the hood level. I just feel like in order to the beginning, you need to bring the importance to the average everyday person, so that they'll be drawn into the article. And uh, if you keep the importance only at like people who like the celebrities or politicians or people who most of us don't care about, uh, most people are going to be disinterested because they're going to come up with that idea. Okay, it affects those people. How would it affect me? And that's pretty much it.